Hello again, I'm Richard Rsymons from Rsymons Limited. So we did a video yesterday showing the new 2021 Model 3 versus the 2019-2020 Model 3, the old one. And one of the key features we noticed was the slight difference in the headlight design. So we've brought the cars into our detailing bay here now with all the lights off, so we've got a dark box with a level floor, and I'm going to show you exactly the difference between the older headlights and the newer headlights. So there's some discussion about whether these newer headlights are only for the UK or Europe and not in the US. So trying to find out some more information about that. So if you've got information, please do comment in the comment section below, and please do subscribe to our channel for any future videos such as the noise test that will be coming out shortly as well. So firstly, we've got the new car on this side of me and the older Model 3 on this side of me. And we're going to start off by doing a side-by-side comparison just to show you literally next to each other the difference in the beam patterns. But then what we'll do is we'll bring one car into the box at a time to show in a bit more detail, and especially the new car's got a very interesting feature to discuss. So first of all, let's me step to one side and we'll put both headlights on normal main beam, please. Normal headlights on. So the new car on the left, older car on the right, and you can see the newer car has a much squarer beam pattern. The older car, and the headlights are very good in the old car. I ran a Model 3 myself for nearly 18 months, and I never had a complaint about the brightness of the headlights, but you can see the pattern is quite different, much more kind of pointy centre sections of each headlight beam, kind of more blurred edge, whereas the new car has a much squarer edge. So can we now put both cars onto a full main beam, please? And again, you can see some differences there between the new car on the left and the older car on the right. Okay, back to normal headlights. Now let's bring each car in the box one at a time to show the differences and this really interesting potential point with the new car. So let's do one at a time now. Okay, so we've got the older Model 3 in our bay now. Level ground, we've got the car in a position that we can simulate exactly the same position with the new car in just a moment. So Serge, can you put the normal headlights now, please? So this is the headlight pattern for the older Model 3. Interestingly, you can actually adjust the headlights yourself from the service menu. Serge, can you go to the service menu for the headlight adjustment setup? And you can see when you push that, first of all the headlights go up, and then they go down, and then it allows you in a moment to adjust each headlight if you needed to. So now, so let's say for example the left headlight, you can adjust that up and down. So if you click it up 3 or 4 notches, so you can see what it's doing there. You can actually adjust these headlights yourself. So come back down to where they were. And that allows you just to change the angle if needed, but there's no real adjustment for left-hand drive, right-hand drive. Obviously we drive on the left-hand side of the roads here in the UK. And then when we drive to Europe, to France and Germany, there are no adjustments. You can tilt you can turn the headlight slightly to the left or slightly to the right, but there's no adapters you put on the headlights. They're a flat beam pattern. So the theory is you can drive between the UK and Europe without having to actually change anything. That's the theory, as long as your headlights are correctly adjusted. You can see you've got a slight peak in the middle of each headlight and otherwise a fairly flat beam pattern across. So let's just go to the full main beam now, just as a comparison. And then we can see the full main beam pattern for driving at night on a dark road. So they've been very good, and I've never had a complaint with my Model 3 headlights. But let's bring in the new car now and just see the differences in that pattern in both the lower beam and the main beam. And then there's an interesting feature, I think, in the adjustment menu, and that's why we just showed you that just a moment ago. So let's swap this around now for the new car in exactly the same position. Okay, so now we've got the new Model 3, exactly the same position, again, level floor and in our bay. So let's put the normal headlights on first now. So I think the real difference we have here is a much squarer beam pattern, a much more defined edge. I think it's more like perhaps the new BMW's got a very square edge to their beam pattern, whereas the previous Model 3, and in fact the Model S as well, has a slightly kind of blurred edge to their pattern. This is a much squarer defined line. And I think here what we can see is a square beam and then fading off to the left-hand side. So maybe this is set up to favour us driving on the left-hand side of the road and avoiding any beam off to the right on oncoming traffic. It seems that way to me, and we'll have a look in the menu to see if we can see any kind of left-hand drive, right-hand drive setup. Maybe if you go to Europe, maybe it changes automatically based on its geolocation. Maybe it doesn't need to change at all. But it's clearly quite a different pattern from these lights, and they actually look quite different now that they're on here as well. Mark, can you go to the full main beam? And again here, interesting pattern, these clear lines and ridges and very defined square edges. It'd be interesting to see how these do project and focus down a long road at night. Okay Mark, what I want to show now, this is what I think is quite interesting. Can you go to this setup menu for adjusting the headlight leveling, which you can still do. I was wondering if these would be self-leveling, but there is still this option. And look at the difference here. It comes down, goes to the right, and look at this pattern. This is really interesting, I think. So this is in the setup menu where you would adjust your headlights if you needed to. You wouldn't normally need to do this, but look how defined and clear and crisp these edges are and the pattern they make. Now, is this clearly indicating driving on the left-hand side? What I find interesting with these being such a defined edge, can the lenses focus? Can they project for different lengths? Can they maybe corner? There's no indication that the lights, as far as I've heard, will have any kind of cornering function, but when you can focus a beam like this, maybe there will be an option. Maybe that's a software update. If you've got any news on this, any opinions, please do comment in the section below. Let me know your thoughts and any updates you might hear. Okay, Mark, normal headlights now, and then some main beams once more. And back to normal lights. So it'd be interesting to see how these work at night in the real life on the road, and we'd be interested to take for a drive. I'd be interested to get feedback from owners with experience driving these on the roads in different conditions. But when these are on, these also look kind of different. You can see an eyebrow here, a bit like the new VW. So let me pan around that. I do hope the video was interesting to you. Please do subscribe to our channel for more information on Teslas, the cars we sell, new features, and of course we've got these comparison videos between this new Model 3 and the previous versions of the Model 3. So please do look at our other videos. Okay, so we're just going to add one extra piece to this video, which is showing the headlight itself in detail. This is with the normal headlights on, like you'd be driving down the road, and it lights up all this bottom section as well as the daytime running lights at the top. Mark, can you put the full main beam on now? And you can see that that end section there, there's this bit that's different, it's kind of more like a lens, that moves and increases the beam higher up. Now Mark, can you go to the setup menu, like you wanted to adjust the headlights? Now I can see there that this new projector lens on the end, that was moving both up and down, but also slightly to the left and right. Now, will this car have cornering headlights at some point? It's an interesting theory. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. We'll be interested to hear any news and any comments or views you've got in our comment section below. And then back to normal headlights, Mark. So there we go. Mark, go to the, this is normal headlights, is it, Mark? Just go to the setup side again. We'll just look at this projector light. See how that moves down? It moves slightly to the side as well. That's interesting. It's got a very intense projection right from that middle point of that light there for the headlight adjustment. And this new kind of projector lens it has. What's kind of mean, looks a bit more like the VW eyebrow headlights. So once they're on, they do look quite different to the older model. I'd say it's one of the main fundamental differences between the older model and the new model. Nothing wrong with the older model, but this will be really interesting to see how this works in day-to-day use. So I hope that's useful. Thank you for watching.